It's Christmas time, as it seems like. No, it's actually not. I'm looking forward to do my first video in this new setup. I have a new light, I have some new lights in the background, and did some setup changes, and I'm happy to be back. And today we will talk about the recent charts. We will talk about Bitcoin and Memecoin. We will talk about Ordinals, what is going on with Ordinals and Bitcoin transactions. Quick explainer what these are. We'll talk about the mempool and the open transactions on Bitcoin, the news with Binance that they halted Bitcoin withdrawals, and also that they have some major liquidity outflows. At the end, I will also talk about the strategy that I will apply, or which I am actually already doing in terms of dollar cost averaging into the Bitcoin chart. I will show you one interesting chart at least. And with that being said, let's jump into the video. As always, I will talk about financial topics. Do not make financial decisions based on my opinions and my information. Always do your own research. And with that being said, let's jump into the content. Alright, as always, let's start on CoinMarketCap. And I saw that CoinMarketCap actually has a new layout. I don't like it, to be honest, but we will deal with it. So we see Bitcoin recent movements we had yesterday, quite some volume locking in. Let me see. If we look at this movement here yesterday, what happens is the CPI data came out and it was worse than expected. And that means that could be good for volatile or speculative assets, since that means that Jerome cannot continue on the rate hike, probably or most likely. Therefore, new liquidity would be able to enter the market. And this was just a short-term pump, and you see it right afterwards. We have so much selling pressure that we went down straight away again. And I mean, another player that we quickly have to check out, just also because I'm curious, is PEPE. Okay, all right, this thing is going down again. So that's not that bad of a sign, actually. We will talk about it in a bit, that PEPE is now also on the downtrend. Now, because it's a big topic and there were a lot of question marks in the market, I know that since a few people also ask me what Bitcoin Ordinals are, and you can really think of it like NFTs on Bitcoin, like NFTs, not in terms of smart contracts. So the NFTs which are running on Ethereum are based on smart contracts. Here it's based in basically like satoshis or Bitcoin transactions. So it's possible to have a little part of storage within the satoshi amount. And the funny thing is that you can put information in there. And now it's actually funny because people talked about if it's even needed to have something like this. And in my opinion, it's definitely not. Bitcoin isn't meant to be that kind of, or have that kind of a utility. And I mean, it's not really a utility. If you ask me, you can also say like, okay, we'll print now banknotes where you can put drawings on it, and that's it, right? It's not the utility it needs. It's not needed for that. It should not be needed for that. And it's also, I mean, not meant for it, because when we think back, I read something that Satoshi actually denied the option of having BitDNS or BitENS domains on Bitcoin. So you can actually have a domain in the transactions or in the Satoshis. And he denied that. He said, no, we don't want to do that. Bitcoin is meant to be a monetary system, or Bitcoin is meant for something completely else, and it's not meant to have such kind of utilities. And I think he wouldn't be happy, or he isn't happy when he sees that, but it is what it is. And I recently made a video actually yesterday together with a friend of mine, and we talked about Bitcoin and the idealistic mission behind Bitcoin, with having a monetary or a different kind of monetary system based on the blockchain, on an open source ledger. And the funny thing is, even though the technology is something completely different, the people which use it are still the same. And therefore, you can make something super interesting, complicated, and revolutionary. People will still make drawings on it. You know, that's just what it is. You can build the best bridge, there will be graffiti on it with, I don't know, penises or whatever. And it's the same with Bitcoin. It's nothing else here. But with that being said, to the mempool, which is actually quite overheated because of the ordinals and the Memecoin topic, you see that these BRC20 tokens, so there's ERC20, could be possible that you heard of ERC20, it's Ethereum, the Ethereum chain, or the Ethereum network, and BRC is the Bitcoin network. And these tokens are actually based on the Bitcoin network, or not based, but they're available on the Bitcoin network. I think based wouldn't be the exact same saying. And you see that there are a ton of unconfirmed transactions actually now in the network, because the network fees are super high, and obviously the miner picked them out which are the most profitable for them. And who pays the most? The people which actually are the most urgent to make the transactions. The most urgent transactions are often that one which invest into the most volatile prices, right? And obviously when you invest in PEPE, you want to be in right now, and you want to be out right now because it fluctuates so much. It has such a volatility, and therefore it's not so cool for all the people which try to withdraw funds from, for example, now Binance or whatever in Bitcoin, or want to send Bitcoin. That's not so cool. But this gives us another confirmation that Lightning Network is probably something we should aim to, or should create more awareness for it. And I even heard crazy conspiracy theories about why this happens now, and people want to attack the Bitcoin network and so on. But actually I listened to an interesting YouTube video of Sonny Decree where he talks about that this is actually confirmation that what we're doing is or what Bitcoin is and what it isn't also shows us that it's very important. And I completely agree with that. Interesting data here, a lot of numbers and graphs. If you want to dive further into it, I will definitely try to link it down below. Here's also Memecoin Hype drives Bitcoin transactions fees to multi-year highs, and that's exactly what we just covered. And the crazy thing was that Binance even halted their transactions because of that, not because the fees were too high, but because the network was so overheated. And I was actually, how I got aware of this was crazy, because I received a notification, just a push notification on my phone from Binance, Bitcoin transactions halted. And I was like, oh shit, now we're going down because Binance is going down. And I was really, first of all, shocked. Then I tipped on it, checked it out. I was in the car driving. I tipped on it because it's such an urgent notification, right? I tipped on it, I looked it up, and I was like, oh, oof. And I was angry at Binance. They could have formulated that better, you know. I thought that, but obviously, I just looked into it, and it's clear what they're doing. Don't be then again that kind of exchange which then overheats the network even more, and especially because people then are scared and stuff, and then they even withdraw faster and whatever. Then it doesn't work. And so on. Yeah, another thing with Binance is Bitcoin priced on Binance US crypto exchange at a $700 premium. And the reason for that could also be the increasing volume of transactions. But the main reason is definitely that we have liquidity flows out of Binance. That basically means, just imagine when you want to make a trade, right? There always has to be a counterparty which fulfills the trade. So if you want to buy, someone wants to sell, right? And normally, to ensure that there is enough liquidity, they have market makers doing that, right? So a market maker which provides billions or millions of liquidity will always get your Bitcoins, or will buy your Bitcoins, or sell your Bitcoins. And because Binance US runs into major problems with regulators, I mean, the SEC is now having some stuff to clear up with them, and also other institutions or other regulators. And therefore, a lot of people, or a lot of market makers jump out of deals and stop market making on Binance US. This is obviously not that cool, because that leads that, for example, as you see in this article, they trade, or Bitcoin is trading at the $700 premium, and that's obviously a lot. That's not just a bit. That's actually a lot of money, $700 premium. And you can, I don't know, I did not try it, but you can probably then just arbitrage trade that a bit. I think it that could even work. I don't know, I did not try it. But yes, definitely something we should keep an eye on, especially when you have a Binance US account. You want to keep an eye on that. And also, I mean, it's never a bad idea to withdraw your funds to a decentralized wallet. Another interesting thing, I actually talked about it with Andres already a week ago, and he brought up an interesting point. And it was funny because on that evening, we talked about it in our internal AMA. I saw this tweet from Hoss, German YouTuber, where he talks about meme token trading volume over in comparison to the Bitcoin price. So what we found out is, every time when there is a lot of liquidity flowing into meme tokens, or a lot of transactions happening, a lot of hype around these kind of tokens, we always see a peak in crypto prices. And the reason for that is most likely just basic human behavior. Because humans are starting with the most secure bet, right? When you go to the casino, you're not that guy who goes to the most speculative machine first. You first try, I don't know, some blackjack, some poker, whatever. And then you go on, and you want to have more endorphin, and at the very last, you end up at a gambling machine going all in, right? And it's the same with crypto. People buy Bitcoin, then they buy Ethereum, then they buy Cardano, then they buy whatever. And then they buy shitcoins. And there are even some conspiracy theories, let's call it like that, that it's like a strategic move from the big players in crypto to just get the liquidity. So first of all, in these periods, or let's say we're down here, December 22, they start to invest back into Bitcoin. So Bitcoin pumps, people buy Bitcoin, they sell a bit of Bitcoin, they go into altcoins, Ethereum and so on. Then the altcoins pump, right? And then they go out of the altcoins and they go into meme coins. Then they pump the meme coins. And by their influence through liquidity and through probably awareness channels that they are capable of manipulating, they can pump the market how they like. And the funny thing was that always when it pumped, we saw the peak, right? So technically right now is a good period to go out of the market. And to be absolutely transparent here, I also did that, because if you see these kind of confirmations, you shouldn't just ignore them. I did not sell everything, but I sold a part of my holdings, and my strategy now is, I mean, you already know my strategy if you watch that channel since a bit. I'm dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and also 2-3 other currencies, which I can tell you in another video why I'm doing that. And an interesting thing is when you dollar cost average in 400 days around the next Bitcoin halving. So it would start October this year, and you would end, what is that? That doesn't even have a time bar here. I think it will be like beginning of, I don't know, whatever. Just 400 days. Over 400 days, and the next 400 days you would just use to sell the positions you accumulated. You would have a good buying position, dollar cost average wise, and a good selling position. And historically that was quite successful. We just have this event, the halving, which happens all for years, and therefore just buying here, selling here, selling over there. And the same thing also worked with 2017, exact same thing, and great profit too. Would be around, I mean, you can calculate it yourself. It's super fascinating to do the calculations here. Same with 2013. So it went quite well if you would do it like this, and I would definitely recommend you so. And with that being said, I think enough not financial advice, and I hope you were able to take something from today's video. I were able to give you some brief insights what happened over the past 7 days in the crypto market. If you like to see more of this kind of content, then just follow the channel. I would really love to see you next time here around too. And if you like this video, please consider dropping a like. It would really help me and help the channel to grow. And I wish you a very nice rest of your week. Much success and fun investing, and we will see each other in the next video. Bye bye.